What's up, everyone? My name's Adam McDormand, and this is Medium Quality. I want to show you guys one of my favorite albums of the year so far, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard's Nonagon Infinity. I first heard about these guys in 2014 when one of my friends found another of their albums called I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, and they have quickly become one of my favorite of the garage psych revival bands that are really making a huge comeback right now. And this is quite possibly their finest album so far, both from a musical standpoint and a conceptual one. Now, what I mean by that is that this album, as its title implies, is in fact infinite. Each song runs right into the next, all the way through the entire album. And in fact, the last song on the album loops seamlessly back around to the first track, which I've never heard any band attempt to do something like that before. So theoretically, you could listen to this album on repeat forever, which is really interesting. Now, they did something very similar to this on I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, where the first 4 tracks were like this non-stop volley of bass and drums driven rock and roll. And Nonagon Infinity, in a lot of ways, is the ultimate fulfillment of that musical concept. Only the music never stops. Ever. It just moves from like this punishing barrage of blistering rock and roll right into these really groovy psychedelic slow jams and then back again. It's really, really good. They pulled it off. And because of the fact that this thematic concept is all about creating an album that is really, really cohesive, it's kind of hard to pick out any key essential tracks. That being said, there are parts of the album that are standout moments musically. Robot Stop, Big Fig Wasp, Mr. Beat, and also Invisible Face. If I were to try to offer any criticism about this album, maybe some of the musical motifs recur often enough that some of the songs start to sound a little bit too similar. But then again, that's kind of the point, so maybe that's not a fair criticism of this album. The vinyl package itself is fantastic. You have this... I love this album cover. It's so ominous looking. It fits the theme of the music really, really well. And it's hard to tell in this image, but there's this really cool airbrushed scene behind this that is, in my opinion, like very evocative of like a 1970s Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide or something. It's really like kitschy and cool. And then, of course, you have this gatefold artwork, which is just amazing. They look crazy. The vinyl pressing itself is by far the best part of this album. This is amazing, this translucent green with black splatter. ATO Records pressed this and put this out, and they did a phenomenal job. It plays beautifully, and obviously the pressing itself is just gorgeous. So really fantastic vinyl package on this. I'm pumped to have gotten this. There is one slight caveat to the vinyl package, and this may be the first time I ever say this, but vinyl may not actually be the best way to listen to this album. Once you get to the end of side A, you have to flip it to side B, and then once that's over, you have to flip it back. So the concept of this album, while super ambitious and very interesting, doesn't quite translate to this particular release. I might actually recommend listening to this on digital or compact disc if you are into that. There's a good chance that this album will show up on my top 10 of the year. So you can look forward to that. But in the meantime, you got to check this album out. Nonagon Infinity by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. the B-side this week, I wanted to take a minute to update you guys as to what's been happening with the show. Now, if you've been watching since episode 0, you know that I've pretty consistently been making these small strides toward improving the production quality of this show. And that's a major reason why it's been so long since I've recorded an episode. I really wanted to continue to make those strides and hopefully, make the best thing I possibly can with what I have access to. That's part of the fun of making a YouTube channel, I think. I've made a lot of really small improvements since season 1, if you will. I threw together some inexpensive lighting with some materials that you can get from Walmart for like $20 or $30. I got a new camera. I even got a new audio recording device. And hopefully all of those things will work together to, make the best thing I've made yet. And hopefully, in the off chance that maybe I actually say something that's worth listening to, the poor production value of the show won't get in the way of that. One of the last undiscovered territories for me in making a YouTube show has been planning, which is important, and I haven't done it. So I'm going to do my best for season 2 to take a much more organized approach to the show, which is why I'm kind of marking this as the beginning of A-side, B-side season 2. I would like season 2 to be a snapshot of 2016. And so my goal is to produce videos consistently enough that I can schedule episodes to be released every other week or so, starting, as soon as I can. As usual, the B-side will be a little bit of a wild card. In the process of planning, I have made a list of topics that I will probably cover at some point. But a lot of my most entertaining episodes have been episodes based on topics or questions that people have sent to me. So if there is something in particular that you want me to talk about, contact me via Facebook or Twitter. I will put links to those things in the description below. In the meantime, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like if you enjoyed it and want to see more, and please look forward to a new episode in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for watching Medium Quality, one review, one something else. What a time to be alive.